right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the In the 11 podcast. I'm your host, Brendan Griffiths, and this is the show where we bring on those from the world of football to show you what it takes to be in the 11 at the highest possible level. Today's guest, very special guest, teammate of mine currently, and really excited and happy to have him on the show. Max Taylor is in the 11 today. Max, thank you so much for taking some time and looking forward to hearing the show. Of course. Yeah. So first, I think when we first started talking about doing the episode, obviously different point in the season, and now unfortunately for you, in an injury kind of period. I guess walk me through a little bit about the emotions kind of you're feeling right now. I know as we'll get into, you've done your knee a couple of different times, but now to be knowing that you need to go and get a surgery again, I guess where's your head at a little bit?
Pretty hard mentally. So like you said, I've been through quite a few injury on my knees, and I've done one like a month ago, something like that. So yeah, pretty tough mentally because I know what I'm going to go through, and I know it's going to be a long recovery, and it's mentally tough, but yeah, can't give up anyway, and still have to. I still enjoy the game, still love the game, so just want to go through the surgery, get my rehab done, and get back to it as soon as I can.
Yeah. So what's that like, I guess, if you were to kind of compare the first time that you ever did your knee, where I'm sure there's a lot of the same emotions, but exactly like you just said now it's almost like you already know what you're about to go through. You know that what you're about to go through is hell, whereas at least the first time everything was new and you didn't really know how difficult it was going to be. So is it harder, easier? I guess what's the you know what I mean?
It's harder mentally, but it's easier to cope with it because I know what I'm going to go through, so I already know what I have to do to get through it quicker, and I know what I don't have to do.
Yeah.
To waste time and all that. So the first one was pretty tough because I just got in Australia, my first big injury. So I think the first one was harder, and even the pain was quite big compared to this injury. I think when you do your knee, so I did my ACL. When you do it again on the same knee, I think the pain is less.
Yeah.
On my first knee, I actually couldn't walk when I did it, and I played like 5 or 10 minutes when I did my knee recently. So
Yeah.
no, pain is not really there, but mentally it's quite hard.
Yeah. Man, yeah, I can't even imagine that. We've talked about before how many times kind of you've had to battle through knee injuries like this, and I do think that's physically, I think you probably now you've been so almost accustomed to the pain, you've built like sort of a tolerance to it. As you said, I was watching that match where you did your knee this past couple weeks ago, and you did continue to play for a couple minutes, and everyone was like, it seems like you tweaked something, and then you go down, but no one's thinking that, no one's thinking to that extent. They just think it's a knock, it's something. Obviously, I'm sure for you, having gone through so many times, specifically injuries to that, knee or to your knees, like, all the different things that you feel and, and what it might be. And then for, our physio to say like, oh yeah, it could be the same thing again. All of us are like, what? I guess that's something that's fascinating to me about like an injury like that is how you can not be in that much pain when like something has torn or ripped. Like, has it always been like that for you, or have there been other times where you've done it where it just feels like a minor little thing, then all of a sudden, you're going to surgery again?
So I did that's my third ACL. The 2 other times were at training. So I think there's not that adrenaline going through your body as well.
Yeah.
So in the game, it was a close game as well. We needed points because we're struggling for relegation. So
Yeah.
I think the adrenaline went over the pain at that point, and I think that's the only reason I kept playing. I think, and yeah, after a few minutes, I could feel my knee was all wobbly.
Mm,
I felt like it's just I thought I was gonna break everything in my knee, so I just put my hand up
yeah.
and to come off. Um, but yeah, you just think about or you went through when that happens. You think about the worst, and yeah, you just think about that 10 months to 12 months rehab. As soon as I fell on the ground, that's what I thought about. It was
Yeah.
that surgery and 10, 12 months of rehab. That so long and so annoying, to be honest.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the adrenaline made me forget about the pain during that game, which was good. But after the game, I was quite in pain. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously it's not to the same extent, but even when I had my, little injury this year, I think it was the same thing. Like I felt something small during the match. And then after the game, after everything kind of wears down, you shower, then you're in the clubhouse, you're like, oh wow, like I can't walk. Like I can't walk without a lot of pain right now.
Yeah.
But during the match, you just, like you said, you have all that adrenaline, you have all that hype, you can kind of almost drown it out until then after when all that wears off, then you're like, oh wow. And I wonder if that's like beneficial or if that's probably not the right way to do it. Cause I remember my physio telling me like, yeah, you probably got lucky in the sense that because you had that adrenaline and you just kept playing, and you didn't think it was in that much pain, there could have been a chance that you could have done something much more serious.
Yeah.
But I mean, for you, I guess another blessing probably in it was that you are so in tune with your body to that point that you put your hand up. Or like, no, it's not worth it because I know where I'm at right now, and I can't I can't continue to do this.
It wasn't the pain. The pain didn't make me stop playing. It was like the feeling of my knee,
Mm.
like
Like the stability,
yeah,
yeah,
I wasn't
yeah.
stable. Like yeah, just after doing it, so I went on the floor maybe 2 minutes, and the physio started coming over, and I said, no, I'm going back on. And when I got back on, I think 30 seconds after, I had to go up for a header, and when I touched the ground,
Mm.
my whole knee just went left, right, and that's what I said. Oh, that
Yeah,
doesn't look good. I need to come off. I don't want to make it worse. I
yeah,
didn't know what I've done at that point, so you don't want to break everything in your knee
yeah,
just
exactly.
by staying on the pitch.
Yeah, you don't want to then risk. Okay, what if this was just an ACL or just a meniscus? Then all of a sudden it becomes,
Yeah, you dislocate your
yeah,
knee, and
exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
could happen. Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I guess let's take it back a little bit because I'm, as you just spoke about there, the first time you did it was when you were at Glory. But I want to kind of build up to and tell some of your story here and how even, how you've made your way to Australia as someone. So you're born in France, correct?
Yep.
And then did you start playing academy in France, or like talk to me a bit even about your earliest kind of footballing
Yeah,
memories?
so my father's so first of all, my mom's French. I'm born in France,
Hmm.
in the southwest of France, place called Biarritz. So it's a rugby town, to be honest, and a surfing town.
Hmm.
But I decided to play football or soccer over there. Yeah, my mom's French and my father's Australian. Um, my father came to France just to surf and stayed over there because he loved the life over there and he found my mum apparently. Um, so yeah, I started football at 5 years old in a small little town called Anglet, which is quite a good academy in that area. So I played there from 5 to 13 years old. Um, yeah, pretty with all my mates.
Mm,
So where I come from, it's quite a small area. Everyone knows each other. So yeah, playing with all my mates, 5 to 13. Uh, yeah, that's best period in football, I think,
yeah.
when you play with all your mates and all that. 13 years old, I got called up by a team just next door. It's like the derby a little bit.
Hmm.
So the first team where I played was Anglet, and second team I played with when I left at 13 was Bayonne. So it's to play to the highest level in France
Hmm.
in under 14s. Um, and same thing, most of my mates who I played with came with me as well. So great bunch of mates playing at the highest level in France
Yeah.
in under 14s. So that was great experience. So you play against really good team like Bordeaux, Lyon, Nice, Marseille, Monaco, and all that. And this year we finished third in that group, and we were the only non-professional academy
Mm-hmm.
in that group. So most of us got called up by professional teams, maybe 8 players out of 16, something like that. The year after,
Wow.
just left to go and play like in professional teams.
Yeah.
And so that team, Bayonne, had a partnership with Bilbao at that time,
Okay.
because Bilbao can only recruit player from the Basque Country.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I'm from. So the Basque Country is a small region in Spain, and comes up to France a little bit as well.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to play for Bilbao, you have to be from that Basque region,
Yeah.
Basque Country, how they call it. So they apparently came to watch one of my best mate actually play that game.
Mm-hmm.
And how in football you need a bit of luck.
Yeah.
And I had one of my best game, I think, that day. And I got called up, and I was training for Bilbao then. So with my best mate, we were training over there for about a year. I think we were not allowed to play with them. So I don't know for whatever reason, maybe because it was in Spain and we were in France.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we were not allowed to play with them for the first year. So we were just training with them and still playing with my local team in France. And after a year, they told me to come and join them. So I was 14 years old and a half, something like that. Left my family.
Wow.
14 years old, went and lived in Spain. Couldn't speak a word of Spanish, except the basics.
Yeah.
And the most difficult thing over there is that they don't even speak Spanish. They speak mostly Basque.
Okay.
Which a language doesn't look like Spanish, doesn't look like French. So it was quite tough to adapt with all the Spanish players not really happy to have French players trying to pick their spot.
Exactly.
So yeah, it was first 6 months were really tough. Like almost crying every night, in your
I'm sure, yeah.
in your room, far away from your family, no one giving you the ball at training. A bit alone, even if I had my best mate with me. I think he was struggling as well.
Yeah.
But when you're that age, you don't really speak up. You want to be tough in front of your mate, so you pretend everything is going good. But inside was quite tough. But after 6 months, you need to show to the other players that you got the level. That's the only way they're gonna accept you. And I think I did quite well for those 6 first months, because in the mind space I was quite hard, but I think on the pitch I did all right. We had a really, really good squad. So that first year we won the Spanish league with Bilbao.
Wow.
So we played against. So in Spain it works like you just play regional at the beginning, and the Basque region in Spain is quite tough. You've got a lot of professional teams like Real Sociedad, Osasuna, Alaves, even Eibar, who played first division a few, maybe 2 years ago in La Liga. I think 2 years or 3 years ago, there was 6 or 7 clubs from the Basque Country in La Liga, which is quite impressive because it's quite a small area. So we won the league in under 15s. We played Barcelona, we played Valencia, Sevilla, and all that. So great, amazing experience playing with top players. Had to adapt to the Spanish way, which is less physical than France, less quick, but technically everyone is absolutely amazing. So that was my first year at Bilbao. I stayed over there for about 4 years, 3.5, 4 years. 5 years with the year I just trained with them. So I was only training with them the first year, and after I joined the club. I had only 1 year contract at the beginning.
Okay. So when you left from France, so I guess let me ask you too, when you're coming up through France and you're playing with your mates, is that always kind of your mindset and your goal of trying to go and play with a professional academy or trying to play at the highest level? Or is it more just about, I like the sport, I'm having fun, and then maybe success starts to happen, and then you get an opportunity. And you're like, okay, yeah, I'll give that a try.
That's exactly what happened. To be honest,
Mm,
I had no plan. I don't even think I was the best player in my local team. Um, I always been I like fighting hard. I give 100% on the pitch,
hmm
but I was not the most talented. Um, but yeah, definitely the hard work
Yeah.
put me up there. But it wasn't like my main goal was not to be professional at that point. I
Mm,
was just having fun with my mates,
yeah.
playing good level, and I was just enjoying to be with all my mates and playing good football. That's my best memories. I think it's that year when we finished like third
Yeah.
against all that all those professional teams in France. I think that's my favorite year of all my years of football.
Yeah.
Yeah, just playing with your mates, beating professional teams, traveling in the bus for like 8 hours.
Mm.
It's
It's
just
funny.
great.
It's like I think I'll never say that being a professional footballer is a terrible job, right? Like that's not what I mean to say, but I think there is something to that, like what you're describing, where so many of us grow up and we're in those teams where we get to play with our friends and it's fun every day. You get to go to training or play, and maybe you win or maybe you lose, but like that's where you fall in love with it. And even as you described when you first went to Bilbao, there is a point where it kind of changes a little bit, you know? And I think sometimes for players, they just expect being a pro to be, well, it's all the same things as when I get to play with my mates, but I also get paid for it. And it's like,
It's not.
it's really not.
Definitely
And
not.
it's and I think that's hard for sometimes for players to come to grips with because they have this dream. They think it's going to be playing with their mates and they get a paycheck, and then all of a sudden it's like you said, now you're away from your family. You have to learn a brand new language. You have to figure out how to communicate with all these teammates. And really, all you have to support you is your one friend that you've come over with that you can actually communicate with. And you're 15 years old. Like, we can look back now and understand, like, man, at 15 years old, I didn't even know which way was up, like, and so to,
You don't know anything when you're 15 years old. To be honest, yeah.
yeah. And as you're a 15-year-old, you have to just try and figure out all these things on your own. So I think for you to continue to push the level that you did, it just goes to show, like you said, the same way that you took to the pitch, you took to the off the pitch aspects of it, of just, I'm going to continue to show up. I'm going to continue to work. And I know that something's going to come about from this. And it sounds like that's what did happen because it led to, how many years did you say? Is that Bilbao? 4.5
Yeah,
total or
four and a
five?
half years. Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
4 years with a contract. Yeah.
Okay. So the 1 year, and then was it each year another just 1 year contract? Kind of, is that the way it works in the academy level?
Um. So it's the first year I got a year contract, and after I signed for 2 years,
Okay.
and after they just signed me for 1 year. So because I was 17 when I finished my 2 years contract. On my second contract was a 2 year contract. When this one finished, they offered me just 1 year
hmm
because I was 17, and after you turn 18, and that's like the moment where
Yeah. Are you gonna be pro or
or
not?
you
Yeah.
make it or you don't make it, and
Yeah.
that's when 80% maybe or maybe a bit more get cuts off.
Mm.
Yeah, but yeah, coming back to the point of playing with your mates and all that. Yeah, I didn't even realize before leaving my local team that football could be different. Like
Yeah.
I go to Bilbao and everything's professional. So there's no knocking around that warm up. There's everything's serious. Everyone's serious.
Yeah.
There's no friends anymore as well. Uh, like if someone has to stab you in the back to take your spot, they're gonna stab you in the back to take your spot. Like there's no. I haven't made much friends I played maybe 26 years of football, and there's no much like friends who comes out of it. Like
mm.
once you go to a certain level, I think there's no much friendship anymore. To be honest,
Mm.
it's pretty hard to make like real connections or real friends. I would
Yeah.
say. So that was the hardest to realize that it's not all about fun anymore. Like
Yeah.
just like people are here to make it, and if you want to be at their level, you have the same mentality. If not, you're not going to make it. And
Yeah.
that was really hard to realize. Like And yeah, like you said, off the pitch, but yeah, I was crying every night. Like, oh, what am I doing here?
Mm. Is this what I want to do?
Is this
Like,
what I
am I
want to do?
happy? Yeah.
Is that worth it? Is it
Yeah.
worth it? Is it worth to be far away from my family, far away from my mates? Uh, yeah, it was tough. But my father told me, yeah, what do you really want to do? Like I was like, yeah. And yeah, it's a waste if you don't try 100%. How many kids got that chance to play for a professional team? Not a lot. How many kids dreams about it?
A
A lot.
lot. Yeah.
And so when you get that opportunity, I think you have to make most of it.
Yeah.
But I think at some point I didn't make most of it as well. When I turned up at that last year of contract, it's that age when you turn like 17. I start being interested in girls.
Mm.
All your mates are going have some drinks, partying, and you've got preseason, and you're like, nah, I have to commit. I have to go run tomorrow. I'm not having a drink tonight because tomorrow morning I have training. That's the hardest point. I think when you turn 16, 17, 18, where all your mates are going out having girlfriends, and just have to stay home because you've got training in the morning. So yeah,
Yeah.
after it's commitment, but if it's what you want to do, you have to do it. That's all.
Yeah. I mean, I think even when you speak about just the way that it worked coming up in the when you're 15 and 16 and, speaking about it in terms of contracts, like to me to think about like when I'm playing for my local team coming up as a, 11, 12, 13-year-old to think about it of being on an actual contract. Obviously, of course, there's no money involved at that point, but like
There's still a little bit of money here in Europe.
yeah, I'm sure in
You're not
Europe.
allowed to touch it. You're not allowed to have it, the money,
Mm.
but you can unlock it when you're 18. It's like small contracts, yeah.
Okay.
You,
So it's like it's more than just because I imagine obviously they're paying for your accommodation, your food, like those types of things, but there's actually can be
money.
money as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Huh. I didn't so and is that talked about when you come and join the club or is
Yeah,
that just okay?
it's talked about. Yeah, you sign the contract and you've got the money you're gonna get by month in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's usually not. It's like yeah, 300 euros, 400 euros, stuff like that. Usually when you're 15,
Mm-hmm.
that's how it starts. Yeah,
And then like you said, you can't really touch that until you get to
until
be
you're
18.
18. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So I guess is that their way of saying because you already spoke to it there, like 80% of these players like are probably not going to get a first team contract.
Yeah, I think even more.
Yeah, it might be, in a team of let's say 20, you might get two,
Yeah,
right? Like one if that's just the reality of what it is. And because there's that few spots available at the first team level. And then you look at how many of these guys are realistically going to go and find a decent enough opportunity somewhere else. Again, that's a small portion, but it's not going to be all 20 are going to go find a professional opportunity somewhere else. So is that maybe do you feel like a little bit of the clubs like, all right, well, at least here's a couple $100 or a couple $1,000 to kind of send you on your way? Because it's like you dedicate so much time into football. You put your whole life into it, as you've spoken about. You've
yeah,
given up so many other things. And then I think it's something that's talked about in the media a lot more now. Like guys come up through an academy and then they get to be 18. They don't get a first team contract. And the opportunities are maybe like, all right, you want to go play non-league somewhere and make a couple $100, but probably also have to get a job in the daytime. Like it's hard to wrap your head around what your life is going to be. And I wonder if maybe that little bit of compensation is a little bit of the club saying like, hey, I know that what you're about to go through is going to be shit, but at least here's a little.
yeah. That must be one of the points. I think. Yeah, it's tough, and yeah, like we said, it's maybe 90-95% of the
Mm,
the boys when you turn 18 that not gonna make it, and after that, it's like what I do. Like
yeah.
should I stop? Do I really have the level? So yeah, your confidence goes down as well when the club tells you, oh, we don't count on you anymore. It's hard, but after you have to realize as well when you turn 18 is that um, it's already hard to be the best player in your age. So under 18s, it's really hard already to be the best player in that age.
Yeah.
But when you go at senior level, you have to be one of the best from 18 to 35 years old.
Yeah.
That's when you realize, oh, that's not that easy, you know. And the only players who made it from Bilbao was guys who were playing nearly 2 years up, to be
Mm,
honest. Like 15 years old playing with the 18s,
yeah,
guys 16 years old playing with the resis. If at 16 years old, 18 years old, you're not
you're not playing up.
already
Yeah,
playing up, you have 2% of chance to make it, to be
yeah,
honest.
yeah. And maybe, I mean, you obviously played against them a number of times, but I wonder if that's why like the Barcelona academy is so prolific, because it seems as if they'll put entire age groups in the level above. Like, you hear about those big tournaments that teams from all around the world go to, like Gotia Cup or whatever the different tournaments are. And, Barcelona will put their U14s in the U16 level or something like that. And from a very early age, maybe that's why they can produce. And again, it's not the whole team again. It's just 3 or 4 players instead of 1 or 2.
Yep. But yeah, like you said, so I played against Barcelona maybe 3 or 4 times when I was at Bilbao.
Mm-hmm.
And every time you play them, yeah, everyone's 2 years younger than you. So you come on the pitch, we're going to absolutely kill those kids. And you cannot touch a ball from them. They're technically unbelievable.
Yeah.
So, yeah, playing up, I think, helps a lot uh, to adapt of the rhythm of the game, the pace of the game, physically.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really important. Yeah, if you're able to play up, just go for it and play up. It's just
Yeah.
so important. Like, instead of being in your comfort zone in your age group and be the bully, just you can walk on a park. There's no point, you know. So
Mm.
yeah, and Barcelona. Yeah, I think they were. I think it's 2 years up. They played 2 years up. I think, and they
Wow.
were still quite impressive, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm sure. So as you're coming up and you get to like at that 18s kind of age group, I'm wondering, what is it like in the team? In Does everyone kind of think like I might be the one, like, or like what's everyone's kind of mindset as an 18-year-old to be like, I understand that we're all about to get cut probably at the end of this year just because there's not enough spots, or like, is everyone still like in that same kind of fight for the 1 or 2 potential contracts that are waiting at the end of the year?
First of all, there's a lot of talking between the players.
Mm,
So yeah, everyone's wondering, oh, what's gonna happen?
yeah.
Am I gonna get picked? You always got a little hope, but you pretty much know at that age. So, for example, if they haven't give you any chance to play with the seniors, with
Mm,
the third team even, or playing up a little bit, you pretty much know you're gonna get cut. Um, so you know it like 6 months before, 5 months before,
hmm.
you've got an idea of what's gonna happen. You know, like there's no like big surprise. You know, like
Yeah.
I pretty much knew I was gonna get cut, and to be honest, if you're gonna get picked, if you're 100% sure you're gonna get picked, I think you're gonna get picked. Like
Mm,
you know, if you're top player, I think you know it, and if you like in the melting pot, let's say,
mm,
you don't have a lot of chance. To be
yeah.
honest, you have to be like above everyone to be 100% confident you're gonna have a contract. You know,
Yeah.
and even then, some players I thought like, oh, they're gonna have a contract,
Even some of them.
and
Yeah.
even some of them didn't have any. So at that point, I was like, oh, I'm definitely not having one. You know?
So then, what happens then when you're 6 months leading up to it? You kind of feel like, all right, I know this is what's going to happen at the end of this season, and then the conversation actually happens, and you have that final answer. What do you think? Are you thinking maybe I will stop, or are you thinking maybe? I guess talk me through, like, you have that conversation. Then what's next?
So the convention is not a big conversation, to be honest. They after all the commitment you do for them, they just bring you in the room. There's like the technical director, like the coach that you're supposed to have next year,
Mm,
and maybe like some assistant coach who followed you through the years, and they just tell you 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 can go home. You know, like they don't really tell you why. They don't tell you what you've done good. They don't tell you thank. They don't say thank you to you. It's just
after 5 years.
a handshake and good luck for your future. You know,
Yeah.
that's how it happens. Like football is cruel, but it's that's how it works. It's not an easy world, and they have to make choice,
Hmm.
and they have to be direct. They don't have time. They have got 80 kids. Say they have to say you're not going to pick, so there's no emotions for them. It's like they do that every year to 60 kids,
Yeah.
and they keep going to do it. So that's how it works, unfortunately. But there's not a lot of, I'm gonna say, help, like psychologically. They don't really help you like to go through that. They just
Yeah.
tell you you're not pick. They don't give you a reason really, except that you're not good enough. And yeah, that's all. And after you're gone, and you have to find a new team. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's it's something that I think only recently has started to be talked about more. I remember, I think a while ago, I saw something that Trent Alexander-Arnold did talking about how many how many players, have that experience of coming up through the academy and then they're not offered a contract at the end. And like you said, it's just this you spend maybe 5, 6, even some players spend their whole career at a
Yeah.
club, and then all of a sudden it's like, yep, see you later.
So, yeah. Yeah.
That's it. A 5-minute conversation for a lifetime of devotion that you've put into this club, to this sport, to now as an 18-year-old, you really don't know anything else besides football.
I've got absolutely no aptitude like to work. I cannot work. I don't know how to do anything. I know how to juggle a ball, kick a ball.
Yeah.
I know how to run.
Yeah, you know how to be, and let's not also understate the fact that yes, you might not be at the level of the first team of a team at the top flight in Spain, but compared to 97% of the rest of the world in terms of footballing ability, you're at the top level, right? So it's like you're an incredible footballer, but again, that only translates to a certain number of jobs in the world. And again, a certain number of jobs that can actually pay you enough to live, which is one thing like I think I want to get into with you as well. That I have found fascinating about football is like really the only people who can actually, there's only like, you know, 10% of the actual population that can actually make a living off of football. Like we see these huge contracts that come out from Saudi Arabia and even the Premier League, and you see these numbers attached. You're like, wow, if you are a footballer, you are making millions. And it's like the reality is, you can be in the third division of Germany and the Bundesliga and the third Bundesliga and be making like $1,000 a month.
And you can be a great player.
And you can, and if you're a third Bundesliga player, you are a phenomenal player.
Yeah, you are.
And that's not enough to live.
And I think the problem is like teenagers and kids don't understand that.
Yeah.
For them, if you play second division, third division, you're amateur, or you're not good. Like, or yeah, we both coach, and like I hear kids saying, "Oh, this player who plays, I don't know, it's an example, who plays for Man U, oh, he's useless." You hear that often, but they don't realize how good those guys are and how committed you need to get to that level.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like you said, in football, it's so hard to make a living from it. For example, I think in France, there's 2 million soccer players,
Mm-hmm.
and there's 1,000 of professionals. That's not a lot of elected.
Yeah.
So it's really, really hard. Even I played with some guys who are maybe twice as good as me technically, but they never played at highest level than me. Because there's one thing is good to be technically, but I think 80% is in the head as well in football.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's so hard to get to that. It's not even 1% who makes it professional. It's something like 0.01%.
Yeah.
0.1%, not even maybe. So yeah, so hard to play at the top that yeah, people don't even realize what all those players went through, like,
Yeah.
and all the commitment they've been through. I think people don't realize how good they are, how committed, and they like real athletes, like.
Yeah. And I will say, just like to kind of the opposite side of this point is, I think you and I have spoken about that. Did you play, Griezmann wasn't in your academy. You used to play against him, correct? And oftentimes he wasn't even in like the starting 11 when you'd play against him. And so I think there's another side to this conversation of there's so many players who get to a certain point and realize, all right, there's only 1% of us are going to make it to the top. I don't really have the commitment to do it. And I'm just going to go do something else. Like there's so many players I think like that. And so then there then becomes this other lane of players who they may not be the most talented, but they're just going to not give up. They're just going to keep like I think I'm probably an example of that as a player. Like probably 10 years ago, like enough coaches told me I wasn't good enough that I should have stopped. I should have stopped, but I'm just like I'm just going to keep banging my head against this wall and maybe something will come of it. And I think there's a lot of players like that. I mean, maybe even you could attest to a little bit of your career. Like, yeah, and I'm the same way. There's players who are way more talented than me, but somehow I'm still playing, And
Oh, it's also when someone tells you you're not good enough, you want to prove them wrong. You want to, oh, I'm not good enough. I'm going to show you I'm good enough. That's a bit what happened when I got
at
kicked
18.
out.
Yeah. Okay.
I was like, all right, I'm going to show everyone I've got the level, to do it.
What was that first step for you to take? Like you hear that and you get that fire in you of, all right, I'm going to go show you then. What do you go and do to try and make that happen?
To be honest, my first thought was, I'm going to stop. That was my first, like just walking out of that room was like,
yeah, I'm done.
I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. Like,
I can't blame you.
No.
I have a theory, and I've said this before to other players. Like I think genuinely every single player who's played at a decent enough level has thought multiple times in their career that I'm going to stop.
Oh yeah,
I'm going to quit.
It's mentally hard.
Yeah. I don't think there's anyone who's gone through their whole career and just every year it's like, this is just fucking awesome.
Yeah. Like, no, you've got points where little injuries, the coach doesn't trust you, you're on the bench for a few weeks in a row. I don't know, you're not good at training, and you just want to stop. You feel like you're useless. You just feel, and stuff out of soccer can also make you better or less good on the pitch. That can change a player. I think what happens out of the pitch as well.
100%.
And I think we don't talk about that enough as well. We start, like you said about Dele Alli, he starts speaking up, but I think there's a lot of mental issues in football, and we don't we don't talk about it.
So many. I think, it's been really a enlightening experience for me, but also one that's helped me a lot in doing so many interviews like this, that to know how many other players out there think the same things that I do.
Yeah.
Like I've spoken about this before, but there's a player who I had who was like very top level in Europe playing right now. And he said like some of the first couple of years of his career when he was at like that top level, constantly he was looking around like, how am I here? Like all of these players are so much better than me. Like what is going on? How am I even here? And I think whether it's just on the field, how you kind of are communicating in your own head, like I think people would be shocked to know like what some players are actually like, what the mental kind of talk that they have in their own head is. Like top level players, like I'm shit. I'm going to get the ball. I'm going to give it away. And we don't want to speak like that, but sometimes that's just the way that your confidence is going and the way that you're playing, and you can't break the cycle. And then again, like you said, when you add in what's going on off the pitch, and so many people, like when you show up to the training ground, they don't care about all that other stuff. When you're the coach of a club, like, I mean, we can even speak about our club right now. Like the coaches, they don't care what's going on in our lives right now. They just don't want us to get relegated.
They want to win games.
They want to win games, and it stops. It starts when you arrive at whatever time we train, 7:00 at night, ends at 9, and then again on the match day, and that's the window in which we work together. Yep. There's a whole other life that all of us are trying to live, trying to support ourselves, trying to do all this stuff just to be able to give our best in those moments. And again, I think it's a great point that you bring up. Like it's starting to be talked about more, but it's not talked about enough that there is so much more that goes into just being able to be a good footballer. Like,
and I think professional clubs could help players. They've got the facilities to do it. They've got the money to help players, even when they have like mental issues and all that. I think football players are not helped enough because we think we give them that much money, so they're going to be happy, but that's not how it works, Like,
this, it's drives me insane when people say stuff like that. Like, I get it, you're a fan, okay, But for you to just say like, "Oh, your life is hard because you make all this money," it's like the thing that I always say too is like for those top level players, it's like imagine, let's say, okay, you're a fan of Chelsea, right? You're an accountant. Imagine someone shows up to your office every day, and the moment you type a number wrong on your computer, they scream in your face and tell you how shit you are and tell you that you're a waste. And like, that's me being nice,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
they're going to say much. Imagine that happens every single day you turn up to work. You,
Yeah.
you really think you could hack it the same way?
No, it's impossible. With social medias as well now, it's
Yeah.
like it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if I was a young footballer growing up, I would probably, which I'm sure a lot of players do, I would just have my social, like, give it to somebody else. Like, here, oh, you do social media professionally? Okay, here's my account.
Yeah.
Post some stuff for me, whatever.
Or don't have anything.
Yeah, or don't have anything.
Yeah, I think that's
Don't
the best
show me
way.
a single comment, a
Yeah.
single message. I don't want to know any of it.
No, you don't want to know, to be honest.
No.
Even if you're good, people are gonna. We see it with Messi and Ronaldo. Still, people are talking crap about them, like,
Yeah,
and they may be the two best players in the history of football, and
yeah.
and
Because
then
it's,
they still have a hateful message, So
yeah, I mean, it's the nature of sports. Like, you can never make everyone
no,
happy,
it's impossible.
But so for you, so we're 18 now, and like you said, you had that moment where you think I might be done. And then I guess how quickly does it turn into let's go again? And what do you think to do next?
Just a few weeks, I think. Few weeks after I got I was already thinking of going back to my local team,
Okay,
which is Bayonne,
so back in France.
back in
Okay,
France, but playing with the seniors.
yeah,
So with the first team or the Resis. First team was in third division, and fifth team was second team. The Resi was fifth
fifth
division,
division.
which is like the fourth and fifth division in France. Is like the Resis from the professional team, like the Resi from Paris, PSG, Lyon, Marseille, and all that. So I was like, oh yeah, I was already thinking of going over there, and the coach called me. I went and did pre-season with them. So I was still young, pretty hard as well to go back over there because playing in Spain with everyone tries to look good,
Mm.
and you go in that third division in France where it's only old guys from the first and second division, 34, 35 years old, just full of experience. Maybe not the best technically, but tough, rough,
Yeah,
fast, physically strong. Every time you touch the ball, there's three guys around you, and you finish on the ground. And I was like, well, what am I doing here? The
yeah.
first training sessions, I was 18, and like, most of them were 28, 32.
Mm-hmm.
I was getting bullied at every ball I was touching. So yeah, that coach called me, and I decided to just go back where I came from. Going back to my family's place, can see my mates.
Mm-hmm.
We had, I think, 4 or 5 trainings a week, so I'd still have time to do stuff around. I was studying a little. I got back to studying a little bit at that point because I was not going professional. So that first year I played a couple games, third division. I was 18, turning 19. So yeah, really good experience as well. My first game was actually at Bastia, who were like a first division team. It's in Corsica.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty rough place. Stadium is like 20,000 people, something like that.
Wow.
And I was on the bench, and all the fans were like screaming at me, nearly spit. It's one of the worst fan bases. It's
Really?
great if you play for them.
Yeah.
Not good if you play against
Way
them.
guys. Yeah.
Pretty hard to win a game over there. And all the security guys spitting on you when you're warming up and all that. I was absolutely praying that I was not going on. We were 3-0 down at halftime. 60th minute, the coach calls me, yeah, Max, come here. I'm like, please no.
Oh no.
You can sit on the bench. I think we're done. I was the most happy man in the world, to be honest. I was so happy not to come on. So happy.
Oh my god.
So that was my first experience of senior football.
Wow.
That game, I didn't come on, and I was the most happy man in the world, to be honest. And I played maybe, it's 7, 8 games that year in third division, and after I played maybe 15 games with the Resis,
Mhm.
which is still a good level. Yeah, fifth division in France. So played against the reserve of the Resi from Lyon. There was players like Anthony Lopez, the goalkeeper, who's still at Lyon.
Wow.
He played for Portugal. There was Nabil Fekir, Gezo. They had an absolutely brilliant reserve team. Like they all, I think 9 of them went professional, something like that.
Mhm.
Tolisso as well, who played for Bayern Munich and plays
Yeah.
at Lyon now. Like Ferry, who played like for Montpellier, Nice, some pretty good teams in France as well.
Mhm.
Um, so they had a decent. You play decent teams when you. I think it's even better to play with the Resis and play against really good young
Yeah.
talents than play in third division when it was only experienced players. And
Yeah.
I used to get bullied, to be honest. It was like completely different. So yeah, that was my first year back at my local team, which I stayed 4 years.
Okay.
We until I was 22, 23. So I played. We played third division for 3 years, and we went down after that. For the fourth year, we went down in fourth division.
Mhm.
Same thing. You play the Resis and all that of the professional teams, and I think it was better for me to play fourth division than third division. It
Yeah.
suited me way more. It was way too physical. The third division, fourth divisions, you play. Yeah, like I said, only young players, so really skillful, really technically goes quick.
Mm.
I used to love like you play against great players. No one tries to close the game. Everyone's like trying to play.
Trying to play. Yeah. Yeah.
So that was great experience again. And after that, I had an opportunity to go in Greece.
Mm.
After those 4 years back at my local team, yeah,
So did
opportunity.
you leave the year? So
The
you
year
played
after we went down, so we
one
went
year after.
down
Okay.
from third to fourth division. I played a year in that fourth division.
Yeah.
Um, we did pretty well. We finished like third or fourth, something like that. It's only the first who goes back up. It's really hard to go back up in third division. It's really, really hard. So you have to finish first, and after you do playoffs against
Yeah.
other teams from fourth division, it's really, really hard to get back up. So if you go down from third division, it's a big loss.
What
Big
was the
loss.
year like when you got relegated? Was that a super difficult year?
We were fighting for relegation every year.
Oh, okay.
It's like a small team, small club. They'd never been in third division before that.
Mm.
There was the record, and I think the record in third division was 15th, something like that. Small club with not a lot of money,
Mm-hmm.
mainly players from the area.
Yeah.
Yeah, not enough money to bring players from other part in France. Sometimes we had players from on loans from like big teams, but I think the club was struggling with money. Even they were struggling to stay in that division, like with money. I think it was better for them to go down. To be honest, even the stadium was not big enough. We didn't really have the infrastructure to play in that at that level. I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, we still played 4 years. The club still played 4 years at that level.
Impressive to hang on at that
was,
level. Yeah.
that was pretty good for them. They were really happy, I think. And yeah, they'd never been able to go back at that level.
Mm.
So yeah, after those 4 years, so I was 22, maybe turning 23. I had an opportunity to go in Greece, a club called Heraklion. First time they went down in second division.
So how did this come about? How did this Greece opportunity come about?
So I had one of my mate who had an agent. He went to Spain, and he had that opportunity to go in Greece as well. And so that agent told me, "Oh, you should go and try. I've got a trial for you if you want to go." So I went over there to Greece. The try went well. Infrastructure was really well. It was a club never went down second division, so infrastructure was pretty decent. Club was quite professional. Good, pretty decent team as well. Decent players coming from a little bit all over the world. Like quite a few Senegalese, Cameroonese. There was like Italians. We have a decent squad, but yeah, a bit from everywhere around the world. So quite hard to like communicate with each other. Everyone, even the coach didn't speak well English. He was Greek, so it was not. Yeah, not.
So would he do the trainings in Greek?
Yeah, someone was like translating in English for
Okay.
him, but that was not perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
So everyone was struggling a little bit
Understand what he
to
wants to do.
understand.
Yeah.
No one could communicate with anyone. To be honest,
Yeah.
that was a problem. And yeah, after preseason goes well, we start maybe the first 3 games. We lost the first games. I think that's why everything happened after that.
Mm.
Um, so we lost those first games, and I think they were thinking of going back up, and they realized, well, maybe we're not going to go back up. And so that was like 2 months after I signed. Um, didn't get my paycheck at the end of the month. So I was like, oh, maybe they're just a bit late.
Yep.
Happens, fine. Or maybe they just forgot me. So no one really speaks about money, in the changing rooms. But after 1 week, 2 weeks of not getting paid, everyone's, oh,
Did you get paid yet?
did you get paid? Like, nah, did you? Nah, I didn't get paid. Oh, maybe we should go and
Yeah.
speak up to someone. So captain and all some of players went and speak up. Well, everything's gonna be fine. Don't worry about that. And a few weeks later, still not paid. Everyone's chatting. We realized that the Greek players got paid.
Mm.
All the foreign players, we didn't get paid. So we all started to speak up. Said, "Oh, we're not playing. You don't pay us. We're not playing." We're not happy with that. President started coming in the changing room, started calling all the players. Oh, you guys have to play this weekend. If you don't pay us, we're not playing. That lasted maybe a month, and after a month, I said, "Nah, I need to leave. That doesn't doesn't look good. Doesn't seems right." And yeah, I don't want that to happen. I don't want to stay here and get stuck here. The president was as well starting to put pressure on like some players, like even going to their house, like like weird stuff happening. It didn't happen to me, but yeah, some other players had like the president, technical director, like going to their house, without even like knocking on the door, without them knowing, like, oh, you guys are playing this week. I didn't want that to happen to me, so I tried to escape as soon as possible. But the problem is, yeah, I was European, so easy for me to go back to France. But those players who come from like Cameroon, Senegal, like I don't even know what happened to them, to be honest.
Yeah.
And yeah, they were you just trapped, and I have a few mates and some people that I know who went in Greece as well in second division, and the same thing happened to them. So don't go to Greece, or just go in first division, maybe in Greece if you got.
Yeah.
But I think the lower divisions, yeah, I think you can get trapped. I think
Yeah.
pretty quickly.
It's the thing. It's the thing about the lower divisions. I mean, really around the world, because it's like, because it's such a performance based industry. Like the moment that you are starting to lose, of course they don't want to pay you, right? Because it's like it's one of the few industries where it's like you like as a club, you have to just take the risk in the beginning of the year and say, I'm going to pay this player because I think they're going to win me games. They might not win you games, and that's the reality of sports. And but you entered a contract, so you still need to pay this person because it's not like they're going out there trying to purposely score it in their own goal, right? Like they're going out and they're doing their job, and now you're not paying anymore.
The problem is like in Greece, I think the federation doesn't do anything like for foreign players. There's no rules. Like it's a bit, not gonna say it's a mafia, but to be honest, when you're inside of it, look like
it feels like
it.
it.
It
Yeah.
feels like it. Yeah. It feels like it. Like it was weird. To be honest, I tried to escape as soon as possible. And yeah, like I said, I've got mates who went to Greece in second division as well, and same thing happened where the president came to their house, put pressure on
Really?
them. That shouldn't happen. That's not normal at all.
Yeah.
It's like invading your space, like putting pressure on. And I'm sure some players stayed over there and played without getting paid just because they were scared, and they
Yeah.
didn't have the choice. They couldn't leave the country. Um, the club were paying for their flat. There were 5 of them living in the same flat. Like they couldn't leave, like didn't have any money to leave the country anyway
Yeah, didn't
because
have
they
money
didn't
to get
get
on a
paid.
plane.
So
Yeah.
you trapped. You absolutely trapped. It's
Yeah.
like, and I think lots of stuff like that happens in football, and no one talks about. I think
So much of
so
that
much
happens in
happens.
football. I mean, I'm sure you probably, obviously you've experienced it yourself, but you can probably list 10 people
Yeah.
that you know that have gone through something similar.
Yeah.
Like, and it's to all like varying degrees of how
Mhm.
bad it is. Like sometimes it's like, oh, like yeah, the payment is just kind of late.
Yeah.
Like, or sometimes it's just never came in, or so many things. And then I think what also is tough about your situation that you're describing there too is then if you leave and let's say like, all right, I'll go back to France, I'll go play in France. I guarantee you when you try and go and re-sign with your French team and start playing again,
You can't
you're not going to be able to
because
because
they blocked your contract.
because that you're on a contract in another country, and probably your French club will reach out to the Greek club and say like, hey, can you release Max? They'll be like, hell no, because clubs are so petty like that. So also that's another thing to be mindful of is understand that it still may be the best decision for you to leave the club without a doubt, but that may be the rest of that year you might not be able to go play anywhere
Yep.
else.
So my French team had to go like to the French Federation to ask like to get in contact with the Greek Federation,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how I don't know how they unlocked it, but it took like 3 months. I didn't couldn't play for 3 months.
Yeah. And then like this is what I think is so hard too and is so difficult is that for you, they may look at that and say, okay, we have to go and do all this extra work now just to get him signed. Meaning like he was in Greece and the contract went sour and now we have to go to the federation and they might just say, oh,
Too much.
it's too much. Let's just go sign somebody else.
Yeah.
And like there's countless other examples of that all around the world of especially I'm sure you know this too, like being a foreigner trying to go play somewhere and you need housing, you need a visa, you need all these other things that a domestic player doesn't need. So they kind of look at you and they're like, well, unless you're incredible,
There's
why
no
don't we
point.
just go and get somebody who is German or Danish or Greek, versus spending all this money on you. And
I was just lucky that I went back to my local team and
mm,
they knew me.
yeah, you had that relationship. Yeah.
Yeah, they knew me from like 10, 12 years now. So like
Yeah.
they did it for me, But yeah, definitely some clubs will not be bothered. It's like too much job for us. We're gonna pick somewhere else.
Yeah.
So many players around, like just gonna pick somewhere else. Yeah,
Yeah.
so many players around.
So how long do you stay when you come back to France? How long do you stay with your club until Australia comes about?
So 24. I was still 24. I think when I got back 24, going on my 25th birthday.
Mm-hmm.
I played a year again back with them in fourth division, and after that year, I was thinking of going to Glory. I had like little contacts with one of my agent. Um, so those and the season started in September
Mm-hmm.
before I go to Glory in France. So I did a preseason with another local team because I couldn't sign a contract with Bayonne, the fourth division team. So I went like to a regional team where all my mates were.
Mm-hmm.
So I played with them for like just to get fit before going to Glory. I played with them for like 2 months and a half, 3 months just to get fit before coming here. And yeah, that's how it happened. It's one of my uncle's friends who's an agent who told me that I could have a try with Glory, and I was keen to come to Australia anyway.
Yeah.
My dream was to play first division
Somewhere
in the world.
Yeah.
That was my goal. Anywhere in the world, just want to play first division. That was like my dream since I'm little. Never thought I would realize it, to be honest. So I got here, trained with Glory. Not long, because after maybe 2 weeks and a half, I did my right ACL at training. So I was 26, I think, when I arrived. Yeah, or just turned 26 when I
Mm.
arrived. Did my right ACL after 2 weeks at training. I didn't stay on the pitch that time, I can tell you. I heard everything. So my knee dislocated.
Oh,
I did my meniscus, did my ACL. I heard like
the pop.
that little snap of the ACL. Yeah, absolutely couldn't walk. So I went straight into the ambulance. Got a scan done, and yeah, first ACL. Um, Pretty shocked at first, uh, especially when you don't really know what's going to happen after. You don't.
Yeah.
You hear about it in soccer. You know, ACL injury happens all the time. Even recently, in the first few games of the season, I don't know how many top players have done their ACL, but
Hmm.
it's absolutely crazy. Yeah, Courtois did it.
Yep.
Militao did it at Real Madrid. Timber from Arsenal, the new signing, did it.
Hmm.
That's three.
Did Nkunku do his ACL or just the
I think
injury?
I'm not sure if he did ACL. We did something to his knee, but
Yeah.
that's four top players already in the first few
First, yeah,
weeks,
first 2 weeks.
first 2 weeks of the season done their ACL.
Yeah. Which I will just say, not to get too far off track, but I do sometimes wonder, like, the amount that these guys play.
Oh, they play way too many games.
It's
They
insane.
they had this 3 weeks break, I think.
Like
3 weeks break.
3 weeks break, and then you're right back into what, maybe like a 65, 70 game schedule if you include preseason,
If
all
you're
the cups, all
international,
the yeah, if you're on international duty, all that type of stuff. Like, but
too many games.
yeah.
And they
Anyway,
even more games now with the new Champions League format.
exactly.
So if you're a top player, yeah, you're going to play 80, 90 games a year. So we shouldn't be surprised if there's any injuries, I think. Yeah, so getting back to that right knee, I just did it in training. We're doing a possession game.
Hmm.
We were absolutely getting murdered, my team. We weren't touching the ball. I got a bit frustrated. The ball goes in the corner. I just go and press him. I'm going to slide tackle. I'm a bit late. I decide not to slide tackle. And he goes on my left. I try to follow him, and my foot gets stuck on the grass, and my knee just flies out,
Goes the other way.
goes the other way. Um, so yeah, like I said, everyone hears about ACL injuries or not, but once you do it, you don't really know what you have to do, how long, what's going to happen. You don't even really know what's an ACL. I
Yeah.
didn't even know what's the ACL before that. You know, like what does it hold and all that. So yeah, quite shocked at the beginning. Um, my dreams gone away.
Mm,
Playing first division, that was the hardest. I think was mentally as well.
yeah.
Just got to Australia. I was pumped. I was fit. Never been as fit in my life. I was ready to break everything,
Mm,
and I break my knee. um, so I decided to go and do the surgery in France
okay.
because I was alone here. I didn't want to be out of the surgery, being alone.
Yeah.
I just want to be close to my family. Also, surgery is free in France. Health is free in France, so just easier to go over there. I also had the professional. I was professional in France, so I was able to go in a rehab center
Hmm.
for professional athletes uh, for like a month and a half, a bit more. Where it's 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock, you only do rehab.
Wow.
So in the morning you do cardio. Um, they've got like something where you can run and there's no gravity, so you can like start running even after 2 months after your surgery.
Hmm.
It's usually 4 months you can start running slowly. I started running like 2 months after. They try to build you up, massage. Yeah, it's 8 to 5 for a month and a half. It was so tough.
I'm sure.
So you're
Yeah.
sleeping over there. So it's cardio in the morning. After you get massage, after you go out a little bit to do proprioception, um, get back in the afternoon. You do like gym work, massage again, and after you've got like all the cryotherapy,
Hmm.
ice bath. After 5 o'clock, they've got all the best equipment that you can find
Yeah.
in the athletes world. Like to rehab,
Mhm.
absolutely unbelievable. But they try to push you a little bit because they want results.
Yeah.
Because it's free for French people, so the only way they can like build their reputation is by uh, getting the injured player out quicker enough. Like say, oh, after 4 months, 6 months,
Yeah.
he's ready to play. So they try and push you a little bit, um, which gave me a little bit of pain on my meniscus
Okay.
because they were like working me a bit too hard.
Mhm.
But I got out of here after a month, and I was 4.5 months after my surgery, and I was nearly fit.
Wow.
And it's usually 10 months to a year. And after 6 7 months, I was ready to go back. But my physio told me like, yeah, to chill. Uh, so yeah, I stayed a little bit in France. Went back to Australia when I felt ready. Was maybe 7 months after my surgery. I was ready to go back. Glory sent me to an NPL squad, so that's the division under the A League in Australia.
Mhm.
So I went to Bayswater to train with them. They actually had a really, really good squad at that point. I played with some really good players over there. And same thing happened 2 weeks after or 3 weeks after training session. Um, I get the ball back. I don't know why I jump before doing the pass. And when I land on my left knee, I do the pass. And when I do the pass, same thing. My boot gets stuck in the grass and my knee twists and my foot gets stuck on the ground. Second NCL, 3 weeks after getting back to
Back.
Australia.
Wow.
Um, didn't feel any pain, to be honest. The pain was in my head. Like, I heard the
Yeah.
noise, I knew it was it. Straight away, I knew it was it. Uh, didn't even take a shower, straight into my car, went back home, crying the whole way in the car. Like, I have to do that all again. I don't even want to do it.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was the end, to be honest. Like, I was like, nah, I cannot do all that rehab again. There's no way I can do that.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, really tough mentally. Um, had to do surgery again. So I think I did surgery maybe 5 days after doing
The second one?
yeah.
Mm.
So 5 days after I was in the block getting my knee done, and that knee took me 3 to 4 years to come back to soccer.
Wow.
Um, so I did that first surgery, ACL surgery, rehabbing. I did my so like a month after I broke my meniscus rehabbing. So I had to do a surgery on my meniscus at that point. They like took a little part of it. My leg was already really skinny, and after that second surgery, my leg was like my arm,
Yeah.
so skinny. I couldn't lift my leg from the bed. So I had an exercise was to lift my leg from the bed. I couldn't even do that. So I couldn't absolutely crazy. Like lost your leg. Like didn't even know how to use my muscles anymore. So second surgery a month after, I start rehabbing. I could lift like 5, 10 kilos. Every time I was lifting weight, I could hear that noise in my knee, like if everything was breaking. Every time I
Mm.
used to like lift my knee, there was that creepy noise. Everything was breaking into my knee, and was a bit painful. Went back to the surgeon, and he said, "Oh, I think I need to clean your. You've got like cartilage floating in your knee,
Okay.
so I think we need to clean that. So because you're gonna have pain all the time." Did that. Like 3 week rest again. My leg got skinny again. So all that build up I've done, back to nothing. And 3 weeks later, get back into my rehab, and still same thing. I can feel every time I lift weight, that crappy noise
The pain, yeah.
hurts. The noise is like disgusting, to be honest. Like people around me are like looking at me like, what is going on? What is going on? You know, like go back to the surgeon for surgery in 3 months and a half, I think. And after that, my leg was just a bone.
Yeah.
And I used to have like huge legs, so the difference between my right leg and left leg was absolutely shocking. Yeah, when I was walking, I was like, even my hip was dropping. I looked like a cripple, to be honest. So mentally, really, really hard at that point. I thought soccer was finished when I looked at my leg.
Mm.
It looked like nothing.
Yeah, that's such a hard thing to like go back to. Like I broke my wrist, and that when it first came out of the surgery, like you can't even move your
Yeah.
fingers, you can't move anything, and to think, I'm sure for you, you're looking at your leg, you're like, how is there ever going to be a point again where I'm able to run and kick a ball with power and slide and do all these things? It's like you can't even, your brain almost can't even work to think like that when it looks like just this little twig that's holding your body up.
You can't even walk, so running looks so far away, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, that I was so skinny that I felt like I was, yeah, like you said, never gonna play again, never gonna be able to build that.
Mm-hmm.
How quick you can lose muscle is incredible. Just in a few weeks, just being on a crutch,
Yeah.
being in a brace, my leg was like, so I had to do hypnosis to get my muscle back working on that
Wow.
left knee, because my brain forgot
How to send the signals.
especially my quad.
Mm-hmm.
They forgot how to like send the signal to that quad, like to make the muscle work.
Yeah.
So I had to do like hypnosis. So I actually went back to France to do hypnosis with the doctor from the French rugby team, who proposed me, like, if it works, you pay me. If it doesn't work, it's free. Like if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So I spent an hour with him doing that hypnosis on my knee.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even believe it at the beginning. I was like, I've got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
I'm going to try anything that can work. My legs doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like, let's try something. I did that hour with him. He put me like in kind of a mind space. He made me like dream about soccer.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the hour, he put me up and he asked me to do a single squat on my left leg, which I couldn't even stand on my left leg. And I did a single squat
Wow.
on my left leg an hour after that hypnosis. So that shows you how the brain, how powerful is the brain. You know?
Yeah.
Just an hour with him, I couldn't step like on one leg. And I did a single squat on my left leg an hour after, just because my brain remember of that muscle, you know. And after that, really, really long rehab because my leg was so skinny. I still had pain.
But at least now you can use it. And now it's just okay. Yeah.
It's like, oh, finally, you know, like, because I spent maybe 6 months trying to build that leg without nothing happening.
Yeah.
Without seeing any difference. Going to the physio 3 to 4 times a week, working so hard.
Feel like nothing is happening.
Yeah. Like no difference. I'm like, what do I need to do? You know, like, and that was my last solution, to be honest. Like, I feel like he saved my leg, you know, to be honest. Yeah. And even after that, took me almost 3 years to get back like to proper running because I had pain all the time. So long battle with that left knee. Mm-hmm. And I got back to soccer last December. Yeah, last December. And I was 30. So, and the last time I played a football game, I was 26 years old. So that's 4 years without, touching a ball, to be honest. Being on the pitch.
Yeah. So was this year playing for or did you play for a team last year, or Subiaco was your first year?
Last year? That was my, December last year was my first time coming back after 4 years.
Wow. Man, I can't even imagine like the emotion that you feel when you do get to actually play this season, you
So
know?
it's just
Like
so good. Being back on the pitch with, I was so happy to be back on the pitch.
yeah.
Like I could have played for any team. At that point, last December, I was ready like, to play State League 6 if that exists. I don't know,
Yeah.
but I was ready to do anything to be back on the pitch. To be honest, like
Yeah.
I was waiting for that for so long.
Because I'm sure in those years, uh, those 3 years when you're just rehabbing, like in the beginning, it's just I just want my leg to be able to work,
Yeah.
right? And then like, okay, I want to be able to walk and run and be healthy. And there's probably not even football doesn't even start to creep into your brain until a much later stage of the rehab when you feel more healthy and fit, and then you're like, then it starts to kind of come back into your brain, I imagine, right?
Or for 2 years, it was even hard for me like to watch football.
I'm sure, yeah.
Like going and see mates play, watch football games. I was
In pain, yeah.
I was in pain. I just wanted to play, like, and I think coaching helped me a lot because it brought me back close to the pitch or on the pitch sometimes, speaking about football a bit more and not thinking about playing that much. And coaching I think really helped me mentally going through those 3 years.
Yeah.
I think saved me, to be honest.
Mm.
I was nearly gonna like forget about football. Like just thinking about it was painful. I still love it. I was loving it, but it was just painful.
I think that's what probably makes it so painful, because of how much love you had for this thing. As we've spoken about, you've done it your whole life, and then to have it really like ripped away from you exactly that, ripped away from you. Not like you chose, okay, I've had a long football career and I kind of want to go do something else. I'm ready for something else. Like, no, it was especially right at what you felt like was the peak of where you were about to hit your stride and play in a first division in Australia, and then like all of a sudden it gets taken from you. I think there's something that's very difficult about that with players and injuries, and those who do have to retire due to injuries, because it's like you don't get that ability to make the choice for yourself.
Yeah, it's just more death. Like
Yeah, it's like someone else has taken it away from you, and like as footballers already, there feels like there's so much that's out of our control. We can't force the coach to pick us to play each week. We can't force a club to sign us, but it's like, fuck, I feel like the one thing I have control of is my body, and then all of a sudden when that starts to break down, you like mentally, it's hard to cope with that. It's hard to understand what's even going on and how to fix it.
You want to know when's your last game, or when I'm playing my last game, I want to know it's my last game I'm playing. Like to be mentally ready and all that. And when I realized last December, I realized like I haven't played. Last time I played football, I was 26. That's absolutely crazy. And I was 30 at that point. I was like, am I able to play football again, or like, can I, or not?
Yeah.
You ask yourself questions.
Do I remember how to kick it?
Do I know how to kick a ball or not? It's scary. It's scary. You don't know where you're at as well. Like you don't know if you still have the level. Well, definitely not the same player, but you don't know if you're useless. You don't know where you're coming back from. I didn't know what level I was at, physically, technically, mentally. I had no idea where I was at when I got back into soccer, beginning of this year. I had no idea of my level and what I was able to do, to be honest. Absolutely no idea.
So obviously we spoke a little bit at the very beginning of the episode about the most recent injury, but I guess just talk to me about this season then. Like, what has this season been like for you? How have you felt coming back into it? And yeah.
At the beginning, most happy man on earth, be back on the pitch, be back. It's not only to be back on the pitch and play soccer, it's be part of a group, be part of the team, speak about football with other guys, be in the changing rooms.
Yeah.
It's the whole thing. It's not only, I think soccer and football is like the whole thing around it's like the changing rooms.
Yeah.
Before, after, the pitch as well, but it's everything. You miss everything, when you miss soccer. It's not only touching the ball.
The people that you're around with day in and day out. Yeah.
your teammates, seeing coaches, banter in the changing rooms. That's what you miss the most. So yeah, when I got back to soccer, I was most happy man ever.
Mm.
But really hard for me to take it easy at the beginning. When I'm on the pitch, I don't know how to give 50% or not go like not go hard, not go hard. If I'm on
Yeah.
the pitch, I want to win. I want to prove that I'm good. So I'm not gonna go and take it easy. Even
Yeah.
if I just came back or anything, I want to prove, I want to show, and yeah, I want to give 100%. I cannot go on the pitch and give 50%. Just stay home. So
Yeah.
yeah, I know like some of our technical director at Subiaco where we play told me like to chill, to calm down, because I didn't play for 4 years. So, but I was full of energy. I
Yeah.
was so excited to be back. It's like so happy, so excited that you just want to give it all.
Yeah.
I was ready. Like I said to one of my mates, I was ready to pay 10K to play an hour of football and never play again.
Yeah.
Like at one point when my leg was so skinny, that's what I told him. I'm ready to play 10K, play an hour of football, and I never play
Yeah.
again.
Never touch it again.
So,
Yeah.
just let me play once again. I was ready for that. To
Yeah.
be honest. Yeah, it's been a tough year. After that,
Yeah.
I didn't play the five first game I think of the season. I had a little problem on my Achilles, on my calf. I think mainly because of my knee. I was not running the right way, putting pressure on my lower back. I wasn't scared to get injured. I'm not scared to get injured again. I don't even think about ACL or injuries when I'm on the pitch. But I could still feel the pain.
Yeah.
In my knee. I was playing with pain, which I don't think was a good idea. But I was so happy to be back on the pitch that
Didn't matter.
Didn't matter, to be honest.
Yeah.
It really didn't matter.
Yeah. So I guess where I know we spoke about the thought process of going through that rehab again is daunting. I know you're having that surgery when you go back to France in like a month. This will come out in like 2 weeks, but so it'll probably be closer to when you're actually ready to do the surgery. But I guess where do you feel like it might be hard to say even now, but where do you feel like kind of the next step in football for you is?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure yet. So I'm 31 now. That's my third ACL. So I'm not 100% sure I'm having ACL surgery.
Okay.
I'm having meniscus surgery first, that's for sure. And when I'm asleep, they're going to check if my ACL needs surgery or not. I do have a tear on my ACL, but they're not sure if it needs surgery or not.
Correct. Okay.
So great surprise when I'm going to wake up. Hopefully I don't need ACL. If it's only my meniscus, I'm definitely going back to soccer for a last little try.
Mm-hmm.
If it's my ACL and I need that 10 months rehab, I'm not sure if I'm going back to soccer to play, at least. Yeah, coaching is still a thing, but playing starts to be a bit hard if I do another ACL surgery. And I also think about the future, like I want to be able, I don't have kids, but
be able to run around with them.
Run around with my kids in 10 years old, kick the ball with them when they're young, and if I do another ACL, that's,
Yeah.
And if I go back and play, and if I get injured again,
that is something you start to think about when you get a little bit older, where you start to think about like when you're younger. I think there's nothing that could like keep you away from football.
No,
you're like, it doesn't matter.
Nothing,
I don't care. Like
I'm gonna
I'll break this. I tore that.
Yeah.
But then as you start to get older, you're like, man, there is a little bit more to life than football. Like there are some other things that are kind of cool that I might like to do, and
just walking is good,
just being able, in 10, 15 years, just being able to go for a walk
without
around
pain.
the neighborhood without like limping and having pain. Yeah. Is it worth it for me to play one more game? I don't know.
Just like play basketball with my kids. yeah, you'd never like you don't know, but like
Yeah.
just a bit scary that I don't want knee reconstruction at 45, or something like that. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's the scary part of it, of going back to soccer is getting injured again, and
Mm.
that would be it. I would be in pain for my life,
Yeah.
which I might be already in pain for my life with my knees, but yeah, you don't want to do it again. Like,
Mm. Yeah.
yeah, you need to think about the future, like yeah, even work. Like working, just going for a hike with your family.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah. You want to
you,
be able to do all those
yeah, you
things.
don't. You want to be able to do it and not be in pain, or not everyone waiting for you because you're slow because you've got bad knees or something, and you're 38 years old. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be I would be embarrassed.
Yeah. Yeah. I get it. I mean, I don't know. At least the nice thing, and obviously we're hoping for just the meniscus
Hopefully,
surgery, but at least it's like you don't have to make that decision right now.
yeah.
Like there's still time. You still get to go home and figure out what's going on with the knee, and then make the decision when the time comes.
Hopefully, we're gonna play together again.
Yeah, let's hope so. Let's hope so, man. And hopefully still in the State League One and not
In the same division. Hopefully, that's on you now.
I guess so. Yeah, I guess you're tapped out for that one.
Yeah, checked it out.
Man, this has been awesome. I appreciate you so much for sharing your story. It's been incredible. I mean, I know some of this stuff I kind of knew because we've talked throughout the season. But just to hear it, from start to finish has been incredible for me. So I can't thank you enough, man. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, mate. Thanks a lot. Yeah, appreciate it.
Awesome.